Indulge me for 10 minutes. Okay? Indulge me for 10 minutes. We have reached a new level of things, a level of enlightenment and clarity. I'm going to show you a video and you will understand why I say that.
Tell you how white people feel. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic, narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race.
Now I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of Caucasian people are getting ready to run for the hills. They're getting ready to clutch their purses. They're getting ready to pull out that Black Lives Matter t-shirt they bought way back when. Don't. Just stop for a second. Don't move. Don't move. I want you to take all those words in. They're going to make sense going forward because I'm going to show you a picture. I know you don't want to see it, but goddamn it, I'm going to show you a picture. Listen to my words before you get ready to react. Unclench your sphincter. Let your booty hole breathe. This is a conversation that we really kind of do need to have. The single worst thing that could have ever possibly happened to white people here in America is the election of this man. The election of this man. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna be going, well, he's the worst thing that's ever happened to America, and I agree. But when it comes to actual factual conversations around the nasty, bloody history of the United States, the very worst thing that could have possibly happened to white people was the election of this man. Because what Donald Trump did was he upturned the game. The little, I won't even call it civil, but civil at certain points, non-civil at other certain points conversation between the larger Caucasian majority of America and the rest of us. He came in and not only destroyed the playing field, but flipped over the tables, shat on it, took all the pieces, shoved them up there his ass, and then he walked away as if he did something. This is the very worst possible thing that white people could have ever done in the United States.
For centuries, black people around the world have endured arrogance, entitlement, and racism from systems built to oppress them. Today, we ask the real question, are white people truly done with their narcissistic attitude toward black people?
And stay with me. I know a lot of y'all want to leave, but don't. This will all make sense in a minute. Every single thing that Nick Fuentes just said in that video is exemplified in Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the answer to everything that Nick Fuentes said. And it is a symbiotic relationship. Because Donald Trump is the physical manifestation of everything Nick Fuentes said. And Nick Fuentes saying it is all the justification for Donald Trump to do the shit that he does. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. They have been gearing up for this shit for 10 years. When Donald Trump came on the scene, he knew he had no resume whatsoever to run for president. He knew under any other normal time, he would have been laughed off the stage. So what did he do? He leaned into the one thing, the one little secret conversation, the one little nugget, the one little factoid about America that we have been trying to pretend does not exist for centuries. We are a racist nation. At our core and at our soul, America is a racist nation. It's not Christian, it's racist. People like Nick Fuentes are beneficiaries of what Trump started. But make no mistake about it, Trump needed them as much as they needed him. Because without them, who in the fuck would have elected that man to do anything? But he tapped into that one vein, that one third rail nobody wanted to talk about. And he has been elected twice. Every social norm that America has foisted onto its citizens and has bragged about across the world, Donald Trump is literally the opposite of. We were told that a felon could never run for president and win, and he did. We were told that a person who makes fun of military personnel would never be elected president, and he was elected twice. We were told that you have to have some sort of a background in knowing what the hell you're talking about so that the people can vote for you, and you will not get elected if you don't, and he did, and he got elected not once but twice. Because Donald Trump is the physical manifestation of white people not wanting to have that conversation. Donald Trump is the physical manifestation of white people being fed up with even trying to have the conversation. The idea that people are trying to make people's kids feel bad about history, that is wholly symptom of Donald Trump existing in the first place. He is. Now I get it. There's a lot of white people, most white people, all white people actually, that do not like this framing, but you can't argue with it. Nick Fuentes, mind you, his last name is Fuentes, is a token. He is a token because guess what? Those type of people, the Nick Fuenteses, the Enrique Terrio, the Candace Owens, the Jason Whitlocks, those two transgender women that voted for Trump, the Caitlyn Jenners, they are literally kissing up to this new found grouping of anger and resentment that was brought into focus by Donald Trump. And by extension, Donald Trump made it okay for them to be in focus. Now we have to hear shit that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like DEI is the reason a plane and a Black Hawk helicopter collided in midair. Donald Trump is white aggrievement in its human form. And by Donald Trump giving aid and comfort, white aggrievement is now back on the table. It speaks louder than anyone. Look on TikTok. Look on TikTok. Look how many people have become famous. White folks have become famous by tapping into the vein that Donald Trump exposed. Nick Fuentes can say some of the most outlandish shit on earth, and nobody does anything. Elon Musk can do a damn Nazi salute behind the presidential seal, and white people not only agreed, but they did it themselves. So no marginalized community is safe. Not from the white aggrievement train. And who is the conductor and the engine car? Donald Trump. What Nick Fuentes said might be hard for some white folks to hear, but you need to hear it. You need to hear it. You need to understand it. Every single day that Donald Trump sits in the White House is a testament to white aggrievement. He is the physical manifestation of what about us white folk. And by extension, kind of like a symbiotic, the Ouroboros, a dragon that's eating its own tail. With Donald Trump being as prevalent as he is, he gives aid and comfort to these same races that have been sitting around here since the 1800s, and their lies and perpetual stereotyping has gone on throughout history. It's never changed. Donald Trump now gives them a spotlight, a microphone, and people have to sit and listen to them. Yes, it hurts. I understand it. But you cannot argue with it. One created the other, and vice versa. It's right there.
I understand that there are a lot of people that are recently finding themselves radicalized and mobilized by what's going on in this country. I understand that a lot of people that are finding themselves recently radicalized and mobilized are finding themselves that way because they are now being directly impacted, right? It's affecting them personally as opposed to around them. I also understand that some of those people that are finding themselves mobilized and radicalized are only doing it because it's now affecting them personally, it's affecting their bottom line. I understand that. I also know that some people that are recently radicalized and mobilized are doing so or feeling this way because it's impacting them, but also because they now recognize that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and oppression to one group will find its way to oppression to other groups, and that is causing them to jump into a movement and wanting to do some work. Here's my question for you, and here's what I want you to ponder and think about, and you can even use this comment section because I hope that you can find some ideas if you don't have any. But my question for you is, what's next? What's next? Now that you have found yourself understanding what's going on and you're understanding the impact of all of these decisions and movements that are being made, now that you understand all of that, what's next? What are you going to do with that radicalized feeling? What are you going to do with that mobilized feeling? Where are you going to take that energy? Where are you going to put that energy? I'm asking this question because when you show up to a fight that's been ongoing, but you show up to a fight later on in the fight, it can be overwhelming. You can recognize how you're being affected, and that recognition can be enough, and it can be too much and overwhelming, and you want to run away. And if you do that, nothing gets resolved. So what's next? What do you plan on doing? What do you feel that needs to be done? And if you're unsure, then I'm going to give you the invitation again, because you've probably had it before. I'm going to give you the invitation again to find some Black women to follow and listen to that have already been speaking. Don't go demanding more labor. Find that they've already been speaking about it. Read some books. Talk to your neighbors. Read some comments. But you need to focus on what's next, because we are nowhere near done with fighting. We're just getting started.
So, Trump signs an executive order, I think yesterday, expanding mining and supposedly keeping a promise to the good people of West Virginia and Kentucky that are into all this mining. While at the same time, RFK, in concert with Doge, is cutting a 50-year-old Black lung screening healthcare program that President Obama bolstered when he did the Affordable Care Act, and Hillary Clinton wanted to make even more robust, and Kamala Harris had a plan to bolster it even more, while at the same time transitioning them to greener jobs, right? And this is Democrats doing it, and Biden actually bolstered it again to take care of them folks. So, okay, so just saying that aside. So, let me repeat. Trump signed an executive order, and on the other side, he cuts an advanced healthcare screening plan. A 50-year-old Black lung screening plan and other healthcare benefits specifically tailored to them. That's funded by the federal government, funded by NIH, funded by different healthcare agencies. Okay? Special program designed for these minors. So you're gonna force these folks to, you're gonna open up more mining for them, but then you're not gonna give them any health care. And mining is such, right, where they mine in West Virginia and stuff like that, there's a lot of silica dust. The coal is in this silica dust. And the silica dust is so dangerous that doctors in the area are finding that minors as young as 40 years old need double lung transplants at 40. Double lung transplants at 40 with the present mining conditions. And you're taking away their health care as part of some Doge savings. Okay. Now here's the other part of this. How do those folks over there vote? How do they vote? Y'all unapologetically red as a motherfucker. Y'all vote red as hell. So again, y'all vote red and y'all overwhelmingly white. 90+% white. We're not going to get into the history of why it's so white over there. Sundown towns. Anyway, right. Overwhelmingly white. So here we go again. White people voting for whiteness no matter what. Just to own the liberals. Just to tell, the black woman, not another Negro in the White House. No more Obamas with here. Y'all voted for whiteness. Y'all voted to end this wokeness. Y'all voted to deal with the immigrants and all this stuff. And you voted to now, essentially, even though that's not what you were focused on when you're voting, because that's how you folks operate. You're not focused on that when you're voting, but in a sense, when you vote, again, I keep saying this, when you vote for a candidate or you vote for a party, it comes with not just the issue you're voting on, it comes with a suite of other issues. You see, this is the shit, this American maxim. I'm not that into politics. This American maxim is going to be the end of us, is hurting the country right now. Because the majority of the American public out here, we are politically unsophisticated. We are politically troglodytic as fuck. And a lot of us are proud of it. And we still think that politics is something that's separate and apart from our daily lives, from our jobs, from what we do every day to support our kids, from from the extracurricular activity we take to our kids. For instance, we think politics is separate and apart from the fact that when your son goes Little League Baseball, that he has to wear a helmet. Did you know that having to wear a helmet required some kind of legislation? Did you know that? That's politics. Did you know playing football, you needed to wear some kind of gear around your body and helmets and stuff? That required legislation. Did you know going to the supermarket and buying food, the merchants couldn't sell you spoiled food because legislation was passed? That's politics. Jesus fucking Christ. So, these overwhelmingly white folks voted for their whiteness. But the thing about it is, this is how insidious it is. They voted for their whiteness, but they didn't realize that's what they were voting for. A lot of them subliminally were voting for whiteness, for voting to prop up whiteness. A lot of them subliminally were voting on fucking racism because they didn't like the visage of the black woman, the well-spoken, obviously well-educated, well-qualified black woman that didn't talk like they do. They voted to smack her down. They voted to stop these black people talking about wokeness and all of this stuff. And while they were doing that, to own the libs, They voted to fuck themselves over. They voted to end their own health care. They voted to end their own health care in a job that's way more dangerous than even being a police officer. You need health care if you're a minor. You cannot go into mines without health care. And to treat that shit is way beyond. It's like the money they're paying you for mining won't cover that shit. But okay, you voted for your whiteness, and this time around, the saner folks in society didn't prevail to insulate you from the consequences of your vote for your whiteness, from the consequences of your racism. And now the consequences of your racism are going to come to bear really quickly, almost immediately. And you know what's messed up? If and when we get over this, a lot of you minors over there, you West Virginians, you Kentuckians and stuff over there, you're going to still vote Republican. You're going to still vote Republican, despite what they give to you, because you're incurably fucking racist. You have this underrunning current of racism that's tied to your white identity. It's the only way you know how to be white, as I was saying. And you're going to keep voting Republican because Republicans sing to that toxic way of being white that you just can't ignore. It's like a siren song for you. And you'll keep voting against your own best interest, even if the Democrats get back in and save your fucking ass. Toxic whiteness. Yet again.
White folks heard Trump say DEI, civil rights, and get rid of. And white folks looked at their black neighbor and said, you know what? Hell yeah, voting for Trump. And here I was about to move out of the neighborhood. Trump is just in time. They was mirroring up the place. And now they're confused as to why their voting rights is starting to be limited. Their white women health care is being limited. Why are they talking about giving them lower pay now? Child labor laws being changed. Why can't I get into school as easy as I could? Why are they trying to make it where they can discriminate against me on home loans? And I'll tell you why. Because when they hear civil rights, they hear nigger rights. When they hear DEI, they heard darkies exclude I. Because the majority of white folk think like Abraham Lincoln. I'm not racist. I never owned slaves. And I don't hate black people, but they are less than me. And they should stay somewhere else. And that's when they started shipping black people back to Africa after the Emancipation Proclamation Civil War shit. I say back to very lightly. It had been hundreds of years since we had reached the shores. Nevertheless, white people essentially think that they're good people. And really, given their history, it makes sense. Their comparison to how white people behave in the past, the bar is low. It's easy to top that. In their minds, I only use the N-word occasionally, and only when they're acting like a nigger is when I call them one. I mean, nigger means ignorant. Nobody ever looked at anybody else when civil rights was mentioned. If you're in a classroom and somebody bring up civil rights, everybody gonna look at your black ass if they not black. That's for a reason. Because we're the most harmed by it, and we're the most outspoken, and the ones who get the most motion for fighting for it. 10 out of 10. You know how I know that white people haven't changed at all? What's their favorite thing to say when you bring up slavery? You were never a slave. Get over it. How the fuck you dismiss slavery so easily? How fucked up do you have to be to look at the descendant of slaves and say, get over it. You were never a slave and I never owned slaves. To dismiss the socioeconomic impact, the mental impact. How can you Look at people who you've seen and learned in your history class get beat by police officers in your history books. Dogs, there's pictures of dogs attacking black people, water hoses. You know that we were hung and still get hung. You know there's sundown towns, and you can still look at us and say, get over it. Y'all would put us right back in slavery if you could. Y'all are some evil motherfuckers. Y'all would put us right back in chains and think nothing of it. Y'all just dismiss slavery too easily. Dismiss Jim Crow too easily.
First, let's be clear, not every white individual shares the same mindset, but historically, many societies built by white supremacy were shaped by a narcissistic view of black people, seeing themselves as savior while exploiting African lands and labor, writing history to glorify colonization and erase black achievements, believing they have the right to dictate black futures, politically, economically, culturally. This is not just personal prejudice, it is a system of psychological conditioning. In recent years, there have been real signs that some attitudes are shifting. More white allies speaking out against racism, educational reforms introducing more black history into schools, social movements like Black Lives Matter gaining international support, corporate pledge toward diversity and inclusion. But are these change deep or just surface level? In too many cases, we have performative allyship where companies, celebrities, and politicians say the right thing but continue business as usual. Public apologies but no systemic change. Blast squares on Instagram but silence when policies hurt black community. Diversity hires without real power sharing. True change is not just about talking, it is about giving up privilege, redistributing power, and respecting black leadership. If white society is truly done with a narcissistic attitude, here is what we would see: black communities leading their own narrative, businesses, and politics, reparation and true economic investment in black nations and communities, education system teaching real history, not a whitewash version, respect for African and black diasporic culture without appropriation. Real support means stepping back, not stepping over black voices. The world is at a crossroad. Some white people are waking up, others are clinging to their old mindset. The future will be built not on empty word, but on real justice, real equality, and real respect. What do you think? Are we seeing real change or just a new marks over an old face? Drop your thoughts in a comment. Smash that like button if you stand for true equality. Subscribe for more real conversations and share this video to keep the discussion alive.